Hey everyone, it's Thomas here. So today's video is going to be the most pointless video on Thomas and stereo because I actually wanted to make a video talking about Wasabi chips, but as you know, on a stereo channel it makes no sense. So that's why I'm making a video on tweaks, and then I'll insert the section where I talk about Wasabi chips at the end of the video. It'll make sense once you finish watching the whole video. So tweaks. Tweaks as in what? As in, let's say it's something like this, an HRS plate where you put on top of your preamp or CD to reduce vibration and improve sound. Or feeds for your speakers. Those are what I call tweaks. Tweaks, do they work or not? From my experience, some do and some don't. Now for those that do work, what it does, it changes the sound. But is it for the better? It's debatable. Meaning that some tweaks for me, sure, it changes the sound, but I'm not sure it's a good thing. But sadly, it's one of those things that you have to try in your system before knowing. And there's some side effects sometimes with some of the tweaks. For example, Mr. Kanta bought these Gaia feeds. They're meant to reduce vibrations, so bass becomes tighter. In his system, when he put it in, what he noticed is that he actually got more detail out of it. The reason is because it raised up the whole speaker, so the tweeter got raised up to his ear level, so he ended up hearing more details. So there's some side effects. So that's why with tweaks, you never know until you put it in. Now with Mr. Vintage, he's really into tweaks. So I call him Mr. Vintage because he plays with only vintage gear these days. While before he used to own a lot of high-end gear, as in high-end gear, more than the price of cars, some of his system. So for his system at the time, he bought a lot of tweaks. And some of these tweaks are just one piece, can be more than his whole current vintage system. And he told me tweaks are important for him because when he plays with vintage gear, he's trying to fine-tune his system for a certain kind of sound. Now he has a lot of amps, a lot of speakers, and whenever he sets up a system, it's usually good for one type of music. For example, there are days when I drop by and all that system is good for it's country music, for example. And he focused all his energy to tweak that system so it sounds great for country music. One day I should actually make a video on it, how he fine-tuned one whole system for that one CD. And he would use all kind of tweaks. For example, cables. He'll use little boxes where he'll put on either the speaker or the amp to reduce vibration, some kind of power isolator in front, and he'll put bricks on top of the speaker to reduce resonance, and so forth. Now, in my case, I don't really use tweaks. I'll buy them, I'll just put them in the system, and I don't even bother A/B testing them. Because for me, tweaks, at least for me, is for me to use at the very end of my audio journey when my final system is ready, and that's where I want to fine-tune little stuff. That's where I'll use it. So before I transition to my friend's place, there's one thing that I'd like to bring up, and that is from my experience, it is possible to over-tweak a system. Meaning that, for example, like, I listen to a lot of systems, so I'll hear somebody's system like in its initial stage, and then they start tweaking. Oh, bass is tighter, then they add something more, bass is even tighter, then they add the third thing. Whoa, super tight now, the bass. And after a while, when I revisit the place 6 months later, a year later, that's where I go like, oof, I think he overdid it. Meaning that the original magic that I appreciate in the system is gone. And sometimes it's difficult to pick up because as you tweak your system, you adapt to it. So unless you have a friend who is very honest with you about your system, you might not be able to catch that issue. And it's just my experience. Now, having said that, when somebody tweaks a system really good, it really makes a difference. It can make or break a system. And for that reason, I don't really recommend tweaks because it's a bit like cables. You need a bit of guidance. You need people with experience. As I said, you need friends who are honest enough to tell you, all right, I think it's a little bit too much. And you have to be open-minded regarding that too, to accept criticism when it comes to tweaks. So with that said, let's go check out my friend's system. So it's spring here in Canada. So I've decided to take a trip down to Toronto, visit my friend, listen to his system again. today I'm going to show you some HRS products. And it's going to be scary because we're going to move his power amp. And every time when we do something like that, and I get afraid because, you put a little scratch on it, that's it. I got to sell my car to pay for it, right? All right, guys, so let's go check it out. For those of you who have not seen my friend's system, yeah, this is it, about $300,000. Of course, when we're talking about this kind of price, we're talking about fantasy here. So no dumbass comments, and it is absolutely just for fun. So, of course, I am a bit nervous moving those power amp. They're like $70,000, I think. But my friend was okay with it. He wanted to show me his new toy, which are the HRS Vortex, as well as the isolation base at the bottom. So for those of you who don't know what it is, just go read up on it. It's just there to reduce vibration so that it improves the sound. The reason why my friend bought this is because he actually did an A/B test with it at the store, and he can definitely tell a difference.
This is only made specifically for his platforms. If you use this on something else, you're not going to get as much detail.
Okay.
So the noise factor will still be a little there. This is really golden. You start with the isolation base.
Yeah.
And then after that, if you want to get even better, this is the next step.
So it's designed for it, right?
Yeah.
So after you install it, what difference did it make?
Everything is cleaner.
Is it so it's cleaner?
Holy cow.
I thought the base was tighter.
I was so surprised when I did it. And the thing is, I even told my dad, I'm like, hey, have a listen. Tell me, what do you hear better? Do you hear anything different? He's like, yes, I do. And then I said, I put this on.
Of course, no trip to Toronto is complete. No audio trip is complete without having some nice snack. We're listening until like 3 a.m. in the morning. So we've got to make sure you got some good snacks. So what do I have here? Wasabi flavor chips. Where do you get to see that? And this is from Lay's, right? This is like a Western company. And then I got, what the hell is this? Braised pork flavor. Braised pork flavor. Okay. Have you ever tried chips like this? All right, let's try it out. Holy shit! This thing is strong, man. I love it. This is gonna keep me up all night. We're ready for a whole listening session. 3 a.m., man. 4 hours. All right, let's try the braised pork. Actually, the wasabi is pretty good. Tastes like Chinese food. I'm serious, man. It really tastes like Chinese food. Very sweet. You have that pork flavor. And yeah, it really tastes like you're eating pork. Shit. Chips, very crunchy. And unlike regular chips, it's a bit thicker. So it's not as crispy, but it's definitely crunchy. The wasabi chips, let me try that again. This is pretty good. Just that wasabi bite, holy cow. And it's great, but it's really strong. So it just tastes like wasabi, but very light wasabi, right? So definitely recommend it to try if you want to stay up to 3 a.m. in the morning listening to music. All right, guys, till next time.